Hello, I'm Elaine Clayman from the Elaine Clayman Justine Bray team at Brown Harris Stevens, and I do want to thank you for joining us again on our Tuesday talk. Our goal is always to keep you up to date on the market, and today we want to talk with Jaclyn Neustein about what it's like to be in the trenches during this COVID environment. Um, it is very difficult for the brokers. There's much involved before we actually even get to the building, when more is involved. So Jackie, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your experience.
Good morning, everybody. And Elaine, thank you for having me. Yes, we have never experienced a pandemic like this before. And since our reopening in June 22nd of 2020, we have acquired so many new skills, mainly virtual. And we, of course, have sharpened our tools in our toolbox.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm seeing it with all the brokers. I think at the beginning, people had more hair, and as they've been slowly pulling their hair out, I've seen the difference. So Jackie, before you actually even get to the apartment, what exactly do you have to do with forms and notifications and that type of thing?
Yes, definitely. And as you said, we are back in the trenches and working harder than ever and mainly paying attention to everyone's safety.
Yeah.
We have forms that are provided to us in our industry by REBNY, the Real Estate Board of New York, and they are two forms. One is a limitation of liability, and that really covers everybody's risk. Listen, you walk out of your home today, you have a risk of getting COVID. You have no idea where it might be. Then we have a health questionnaire, which covers any symptoms that you might have, and you have to answer this honestly as well. And then there might be an additional questionnaire that a building has to have is required for us to submit, and that is another form. And then you might have your temperature taken when you walk into a building by a doorman or a concierge. It's all digital. It's safe. And this is what we are facing, again, for everybody's safety.
I know there's lots of forms that are going back and forth, and you need to make sure you get them before you even get to the building. You don't want to risk that. I know even showing apartments, Jackie, when you're showing apartments, I know there's just a few people allowed in an elevator and in an apartment. So how do you handle notifying buyers about what to expect? Because sometimes they bring unexpected guests with them. So what's involved with that?
Well, that's so true, Elaine. And we do provide a lot of information beforehand. And in many cases, we need forms and appointments 24 hours in advance. We tell people to please limit the amount of people that might accompany them. It's not like the old days where you can have 3 friends come with you, or your mother-in-law or a sister-in-law. We're very cautious of the amount of people because we might only be allowed 1 or 2 people in an elevator at a time. And then you have people stranded in hallways. We advise people not to bring young children because they want to touch everything and walk around. So these are things that we do advise people what to do and not to do before even coming to the appointment.
Right. It seems like there's quite a strain because people get offended from what I've heard and don't want to leave somebody outside of the apartment. And what happens with the broker? Let's say there's 2 people who come to see the apartment and a broker. How is that handled?
Well, that's an interesting question as well. At first, we were only permitted, this started when we reopened in June. We were only allowed to have the listing broker in the apartment and 1 additional person. That has been relaxed a bit. Now it can be the selling broker and the listing broker. And of course, everybody has to understand there are rules. The listing broker is the only one who can open doors, open cabinets, and show whatever a buyer might want to see. It might even be opening a window. And then after all of this is done, the listing broker wipes down everything with wipes. And I forgot to mention, before anybody enters a building or an apartment, everybody has to have a mask on. The listing broker wears gloves. And then if people are asked to take off their shoes, the listing broker should provide booties. This
Wow.
is all the protocol that we practice on our team.
It's a tremendous amount. I know the booties and people leaving shoes outside of the apartments and the masks. And I hear from a lot of brokers how complicated it is. And that's great that you're explaining to people that these are the protocols we have to follow. And it's for everybody's safety. And of course, wiping down an apartment after everybody leaves becomes a major task. So we can't have a lot of people touching a lot of things. It's just not possible today. So Jackie, I know that people are used to open houses and like open houses, and many sellers say, are you going to host open houses? Obviously we can't have hordes of people coming in, and there are hordes of people looking at apartments and taking advantage of the low prices and low interest rates. So how do you handle open houses today?
Well, Elaine, as so many people know, we cannot have an open house like we used to have. And it's unfortunate because it eliminates a lot of people that truly want to see as many apartments as they can without committing to an appointment. So what we offer are, of course, open houses by appointment. And we also provide a Zoom if somebody would want that, or a FaceTime. And then if they are satisfied with what they see and they want, as we would say, a second appointment, since most first appointments are now virtual, we will then set up a private appointment.
Now, it's very interesting, Jackie. So aside from the normal showings, if somebody is requesting a viewing, you actually need to go to the apartment, FaceTime them, and then bring them back to physically see it. And then very often people want to see it again in real time. So they come a third time. So there's multiple showings. I mean, this has been very informative, Jackie. And I really wanted to explain to people, and you've done it eloquently, what's involved in selling a space today in New York City. Jackie, I'd love you to share a little information about yourself. You're a great broker and you've always been a welcome member of our team. So please share your information. So if a seller or buyer would like to reach out to you directly, they can.
Thank you. Well, it's my pleasure to be here, and I hope I've explained what we're going through now during COVID times, and hopefully there is a light through this tunnel. I have been in business for 25 years. I've been in up markets, down markets, 9/11, Lehman financial shutdown, but this is global, and everybody understands that. And for the most part, you have to love this business to be in it. And it's something that I've loved throughout my career and hope to continue for years to come. You can reach me at Neustein, Neustein, at BHSUSA.com. My cell number, which is always open to anybody who wants to call, is 917-922-5351. And also, you can reach me through the Elaine Clayman, Justine Bray team. Thank you.
Jackie, thank you again. You're delightful. And I want to put in a little plug for our wonderful Lara Mizrak, who handles all of our social media, and thank her again for creating these YouTube videos. So thank you for tuning in, everybody, and we will see you again next week. Have a good week. Bye-bye.